Internet safety is a subject talked about in most households, especially with vulnerable family members, young kids or seniors. The Liberal government is hoping its long-promised online harms bill will help protect people. The latest version is set to be introduced tomorrow. CTV's Colton Parale reports.
More than a decade after Amanda Todd took her own life after online exploitation and bullying, her mother hopes new legislation will help protect children and spare families the grief she's had to endure.
I felt like a failure as a parent because I couldn't do anything. This is why something needs to be done and to make it easier.
The Liberals' long-awaited online harms bill will be introduced Monday, the latest in a series of sweeping and controversial internet regulations.
We need to make sure, and I think we can all agree, we need to protect our kids online.
The proposed bill is aimed at online companies and expected to target hate speech, terrorist content, child exploitation, and the sharing of non-consensual images, both real and AI-generated, all with a significant focus on child safety.
These are large companies, none of which are based in Canada, and we have to have some teeth to be able to compel action.
Legislation like this already exists in several other countries, like the UK, Australia, and the EU. Now, on their third attempt, the Liberals hope Canada will soon be among them.
The feds have tabled their long-awaited online harms bill, the first iteration of which years ago was criticized for being too restrictive on free speech. The government says they took years crafting this new version in part to address those concerns, and they presented the bill as primarily focused on kids' online safety. The Tories today issued a statement on the bill, writing in part, "Common sense conservatives will protect our kids and punish criminals instead of creating more bureaucracy and censoring opinions."
The federal government has said that its online harms bill is imminent. They've said this bill will include, among other things, a ban on so-called online hate speech. As you know, the Conservatives a decade ago repealed Section 13 of the Canadian Human Rights Act, which the Liberals have talked about reintroducing and tried in the last parliamentary term. Will the Conservatives oppose the reintroduction of these provisions and the Liberals' approach to so-called online hate speech?
Yes, we will oppose Justin Trudeau's latest attack on freedom of expression. And I want to ask, what does Justin Trudeau mean when he says the word hate speech? He means speech he hates. So, for example, let's go through some of the things he said is hate speech. Jerry Butts, the PMO puppet master, said that it was hate speech to criticize Trudeau for using the ridiculous term people kind, right? Justin Trudeau said anyone who criticized him during the pandemic was engaging in hate speech. Basically, anybody who disagrees with his radical agenda when it comes to kids, he says is hate speech. He attacked Muslim parents who were protesting against his agenda. Is he going to criminalize those Muslim parents for protecting their children in schools? Go down the list of things that Justin Trudeau disapproves of, and you can imagine all of the things that will be criminalized. Then there becomes the question of who is going to be in charge of determining what is hate speech. Recently, a school board in Ontario banned Anne Frank's books. Okay, so would that be considered hate speech under Justin Trudeau's woke authoritarian agenda? I think it would. So anyone who thinks that speech they don't like is going to be criminalized and therefore the bill should be supported, go through that. Those people should go through the list of their own thoughts that Justin Trudeau considers to be unacceptable views, and you can assume that he will ban all of that as well.
19-year-old Daniel John Harris lives in the United Kingdom and was nowhere near Buffalo, New York, when a neo-Nazi murderer murdered 10 black people in a grocery store last May. We all remember that. We'll never forget it. He will still be held accountable for their deaths even though he was nowhere near. Why? He posted neo-Nazi videos online, which ultimately inspired the hateful attack. Harris has been sentenced to 11.5 years behind bars. Joining me now here on The Factor Uncensored are attorney Joyce Rayner and publicist Bridget Holden. Glad to have you both here on The Factor Uncensored. This is a strong message to people because people think they have carte blanche on the internet, on social media, saying and doing anything they want. Recently in the Idaho, where 4 students were killed, there was a blogger who continued to go after a professor and accuse her of playing a role in their death. She had nothing to do with it, so she sued him.
Yes.
So in this case, jail time, other times, civil lawsuit. Do you think we're going in the right direction with holding these bloggers and people on social media accountable?
Well, that's a tough question, Isaiah.
Well, you must be defending somebody. See? But go on.
Well, I am a defense attorney. One of the things is because some of the exceptions to the First Amendment freedom of speech are so hard to prove. That's why it's a sticking point for me. I think the gentleman that just was convicted in the UK, he was charged and convicted of enticing someone to commit a terroristic act. Now, I'm all for your convicting someone for conspiring with someone to commit a terroristic act. However, if you're enticed, I mean, what's the thin line here? Do you say hateful speech? I don't like it, but it's protected. What is it that caused him to be convicted for posting things, saying ugly things about people? I don't understand that.
Bridget, your perspective on this?
So I feel like that we are going in the right direction with this because it's high time that we start holding people accountable for what they say. Too many times people have hid behind their computers. And I don't think, I do understand the First Amendment right, I get that. However, I think people take it for granted and it's something needs to be done about it. If he's being an example or not, he enticed people. Same thing with the last thing that happened on Capitol Hill. That person should be held accountable. I know we're not talking about him. However, he should be held accountable because what he said enticed people to do something that was against the law.
Now, when we look at the blogger who was online and she made allegations against a professor at the Idaho University where the 4 students died, you also have a person who is a victim by these allegations that people have a right to say, but you hold them accountable, right?
Absolutely.
Well,
is there a difference there where you say something that's untrue about someone?
Sure.
Reporters are held accountable for it all the time.
Absolutely. That's called defamation. That's different. Speech that causes one to commit a crime or incite some form of lawlessness, of course, that's a violation of the First Amendment. That is not protected speech. I'm saying to you with respect to the young man, the 19-year-old in Great Britain, they charged him with enticing this man that came in and shot all these
And
people.
really quick, are the laws different there than they are here?
Of course, they don't have our Constitution, and so the laws may be slightly different there. However, I'm just looking at our Constitution. He would have been charged if there was imminent harm at play. How do we know whether this man read this blog 6 weeks ago and then decided, okay, I'm going to go out and shoot somebody? That's not imminent harm at that point in time. That's why I'm saying it's a slippery slope, so we need to kind of judge it based on what happened actually, and we don't really know. We don't.
And what about the case where individuals' reputations are harmed by those who say negative things about them on social media?
Oh yeah, that's to me that it may not be criminal, but you can be held liable for it civilly and make them pay.
Yeah, it's defamation of character,
Yes,
like you said before. But I mean, in going with what you said, yes, the UK may have different laws, but he should be held accountable. He should be held accountable because he enticed the young man to go and shoot. Now, he didn't put the gun to his head and tell him to go shoot, but he put those things out there. And he's like, okay, do this, do this. It's like a playbook of what to do to kill off another race. So yes, he should be held accountable. You should just be able to put whatever you want out there on social media.
From the age of Big Brother, from the age of the thought police.